Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. I was asked to make a Christmas gift box for a present that is 3 by 3 inches, 7.6 by 7.6 centimeters. And of course, such a box should be a little bit bigger so that you can actually get your present in and out. And for that size, you would need cardstock that is, well, let me just check, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. 3 1/4, that's 6 1/2, and then 6 1/2 times 2 plus a glue flap. That will be 13 1/2 inches, which is about 34.5 centimeters. We don't have paper that is large enough, but I have made a box, as you can see. Isn't it pretty? It is that size, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 all round. And in today's video you can see the solution that I've come up with to make a box this size. There are chapters below so you can easily navigate to the various parts of this tutorial. I'm going to use the same designer series paper, that is the Take a Bow, but I'm going to change up the paper. I'm going to use that one. I am using the same stamp set, Reindeer Fun, and the dies, and I've already prepared my embellishments. Look how sweet. I'm not going to show you how to make these reindeer. I did so in a video a while ago, and I will link to that at the end of this video, how you can make the embellishments. Today's video is all about the box. So if you're ready for it, I suggest we begin. My solution is, and that's not a very big secret, you need 2 pieces of cardstock. You make the box like this. Let me put it in the right way, and you adhere these pieces together, and then you'll be able to make a box which is that size. So first I'm going to show you how you can make the front and side pieces of the box. And you need a piece of cardstock. This is Real Red, by the way, which is 10 3/4 by 8 1/4. So 8 1/4, 10 3/4. In centimeters, that is 27.5 by 21 centimeters, and with a long side top you're going to score that. I've already done the scoring to save some time. I'll show you where the score lines are at 1/2 inch, 3 3/4, at 7 and 10 1/4 inches. In centimeters, that is 1.3, 9.6, 17.9 and 26.2 centimeters. Then a quarter turn, you score at 3 1/4 and you score at 6 1/2. In centimeters, that is 8.3 and 16.6 centimeters. So that is the front and the side of the box. And in a minute I'll show you how you can cut this, because first I'm going to show you how you can make the back piece and the lid. For that you need a piece of cardstock, Real Red as well, which is 3 1/4 by 10 1/4. In centimeters, that is 8.3 by 26.2 centimeters, and with the long side top you score this at 3 1/4, 6 1/2 and 9 3/4. In centimeters, that is 8.3, 16.6 and 24.9 centimeters. So now I can get rid of my scoreboard and show you how you can do the cutting. I will start with this lid piece, the back and the lid, and I'm going to fold all these score lines. Well, all these score lines, there's just 3 of them. And I'll show you how I cut the lid. Where are my scissors? There they are. You can wedge them, but I'm using a 1/4 rounder punch, so I'm going to cut off just the tiniest bit. No idea how much is a 1/16 of an inch? 1 millimeter. So just a sliver. So I cut up straight there and cut off those 2 pieces, can you see? Really tiny. And I'm using a 1/4 rounder punch to round these corners. I think they just give the box a nicely finished look. You can wedge, no problem there, especially if you don't have a 1/4 rounder punch. Let me get rid of those bits. So that is the back piece already finished. I'm going to put it over here, and then I'll show you where you can cut the front piece. Again, I'm going to fold and burnish all these score lines. So, folded and burnished with my bone folders, you get these nice crisp score lines. Where you have the narrow part, that is the top of the box, and this is going to be the bottom, okay? So I'm going to start by cutting, and you do the same thing on both sides. So you wedge what's going to be the glue flap, and then you cut up those score lines as far as the first score line. I always like to shorten these side flaps. These are going to be the side flaps. This is the front, the bottom and the front flap. So I'll fold it back, and I tend to cut off 1 inch. You can eyeball this, you can measure it out if you like. I'm using my trimmer. Be careful to fold that flap back, not flap, and then I'm going to cut off 1 inch. So there's an inch measurement there as well. See, and you cut them off in one go, and they're nice and straight. Then you wedge those side flaps. And then I'm going to continue with the top part of the box. Again, I'm wedging at the side flaps, and I'm cutting in on those flaps as far as the first score line, the same as I did with the bottom. Finishing this off is going to be slightly different. I will show you in a minute when I've finished cutting. So one more wedge for the side flap. This is what you have now. Bottom part, top part. This is the front flap, so this one has to go. So you fold back that one, and then you cut it off. And when I've adhered the mat, the Designer Series paper mat, I'm going to put a notch in there so that it's easier to open the box. These have to be wedged, same way, although I am using a narrower wedge here, which is easier to cut because I've shortened them. The longer these flaps are, the more difficult I find it to cut them. So you could see that here I took about, I don't know what, half an inch. Here I'm taking about 1/4 of an inch. And the trick about cutting straight is not looking where your scissors are, but where your scissors are going to go. So I start here at 1/4 inch, and then I'm looking there at that point, and that's what I direct my scissors towards. So look at where you want to go, not where your scissors are. And there we go. So that is the box, and now we're going to attach the extra part to that part. Be careful you stick it on right. This is the top of the box, so we have the narrower part, so the lid has to go there. The one with, oh, sorry, I'm out of focus. Not focus, I was out of view. So when you stick it together, make sure that, oh, I'll move it up so you can see. Okay, now you can see all of it. Sorry about that. So when you stick it together, make sure that this is the top part of the box, so that this one with the small flap goes on the top as well. Now I prefer to stick it on like this. I find it easier to direct my paper, so that's why I put the box upside down for a minute. I'm going to adhere this using tear and tape. So I'm putting down a strip here on this glue flap. You should ask me how I know that it's important to stick it together right. Least said, soonest mended. And now I can put these two together, and for that I'm going to remove part of the backing paper of the tear and tape so that it doesn't quite stick immediately. And now I can fit this together, move it around a bit and make sure that my score lines all match, and then I can press in those two corners and then remove the rest of the paper and make sure it attaches really, really well. See? And now you have the entire box. Before I continue, I'm going to put in more tear and tape, since I have my tear and tape out anyway. So some on the glue flap here, that's on the outside of the box, and then on the inside, this part which is in between the two side flaps, that is your front flap. It's going to fold over last, so here I put the tear and tape in a U shape. So also along these sides, because they're long and you don't want them to gape open, at least I don't want that. I want the boxes to look neat. And this is the back flap, and here I put tear and tape along these two side edges. There's no need to put any tear and tape there along the bottom part, because it doesn't have to be adhered, that part. So then with my bone folder I'm going to really press down on the tear and tape so that it adheres well, and then I can put the decorations on. That is to say, the Designer Series paper panels. It's easier to do it now when your box is still flat than when you have adhered it. You can do it, but it's fiddly, believe me. I'm going to show you how I cut the Designer Series paper. I'm going to move this over, and as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to use the Take a Bow. It's not Take a Bow, it's Take a Bow because it goes with a die set that allows you to make bows. And each Designer Series paper mat is 3 inches. Now this paper is 6 by 6, so it allows you to make optimum use of the Designer Series paper. So that's 2, and I'm going to need 5. If you wanted one on the bottom of the box as well, you would have to cut 6, but well, it'll be standing on the bottom so nobody will see that. But if you want to, you can go ahead and do that. So that is 4 then, if I make one more cut at 3 inches, which is, by the way, 7.6 centimeters by 7.6 centimeters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another one, 3 inches. So that is 5 of these panels, but I could use that one as well. I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to show you how I adhere them. You want one here on the lid and then on these panels, and I like it best if you put them in the same direction, you see, so make sure that, well, if you want to mix and match you can, but I think this looks better. Continuous pattern. So I'm going to stick these down first of all, and for that I use my floating glue method, which means that I put a tiny piece of a strong adhesive, for example the Seal Plus on the back, and then I put liquid glue all around it, a bit in the middle as well. And I do this, if you watch my channel regularly you know why I do this, but I'll explain it to those who haven't seen me do this before. See, now I can still move it around and make sure it's right in the middle of this panel. Then I push down where the really strong adhesive is, and then it attaches immediately, you see, and the liquid glue doesn't shift anymore. So I'll go and continue with that, putting some Seal Plus in the middle. If you have a larger panel, I find it easier to use 2. Yes, if it works. Go on. It maybe I've run out. Yes. Okay. So I'll have to stop filming for that and put in a new roll. It's always like that when you're filming. So one more time. See, I can move it around because it floats on the liquid glue before it starts to adhere. When I'm happy with it, then I can hold it down, push down onto that middle part where the Seal Plus is, and then it attaches immediately. So I'll go and change my roll. I'll be back with you when I've done that. On the other hand, you may not have seen anyone do this. Oh, there go my panels. Forgot about those, that they hadn't been attached yet. Okay, that was my voice from under my desk. I'll show you how you can change the glue. This is always quite difficult to open. See, there's this cartridge, and you open it like this, take the old one out, put the new one in, and there are these notches, so they go into these 1, 2, 3, you see? So you have to be careful, don't push, make sure those pins slide into the notches. There we go. Put the cover back on and you're ready to go. Start it until you feel the glue. You can see the strips of glue, and that's all there is to it. So I'll continue with my strips of Designer Series paper. Put them back in the right direction. The wrong direction. Yes, why don't you? Okay, so alright, so that is the box with the panels on. I'm using a 1-inch circle punch to punch a notch here for your finger or your thumb. In the middle, not too deep, this is roughly okay. And then I'm ready to put the box together. It's quite easy now. You just fold it over, remove the backing paper, and then fold that part over. And it's attached. And to put the bottom together, see, I'm testing if I cut this far enough, and I did, so it slides in easily. And then to put the bottom together, and I find it easier to put the top together first, then the box is sort of in the right shape. Okay, so remember this was the part with the 3 strips on, that's the front part, so I'll start with the back flap and fold that over the 2 side flaps, which I have folded in, as you can see. And then with my hand I keep the box straightish, see, and then push down on the edges so it will adhere. In a minute I'm going to open the box and push from the other side, but for now it will attach. Then you can remove the backing paper off the front flap. Let me get rid of all those bits and pieces first. There we go. And then same procedure, you push it over and you make sure the box is straight, and then you push down. And now I can open the box, and from this end I can push down onto the bottom. You can use a bone folder if you like. If you're at all bothered by the fact that you can see the flaps inside, you can put a piece of cardstock in, a scrap piece of cardstock. I've cut it just under 3 1/4 inches. I always call it 3 1/4 minus. It is in fact 3/16, and the 16ths bother me, so I just make sure it's just a tiny bit smaller than 3 1/4. 8 by 8 centimeters. See, large enough. You can put some glue on. Drop it into the box, and you can slide it over a bit so that it's in the middle. Now you have a beautifully finished bottom. Can you see? Okay, so that's the box. Cute in itself. I'm going to show you how I put on the embellishments. I just made 5 of these cute reindeers. I'm going to put one there, because the same with this box, I want the sentiment to go in that corner. I'm going to make that later. So first I'm going to attach all these reindeer, and the other ones are going to go right in the middle of the panel, see? And am I going to attach them? I'll use glue dots, mini glue dots. They're really sticky and they attach your embellishments really well. Although I have a roll where they don't seem to want to come off, I'll just use my take your pick tool. And then I can lift the lid and then push down. I was thinking about using dimensionals, but dimensionals would make them too high, I suppose, and these already are slightly bulky because I've put all these layers together. Can you see? Well, I hope you can. So, and the same thing here. You can put your hand in and then press down on the reindeer. I'm going to stop filming for that, put them all on, and then I'll continue with sentiment. So I'll put the last one on, and it's also easy if you fold in the flap, and then you can see where it should be going. Push down, see, onto the glue dots so that they are attached really well, and then close the box. I'm going to show you how you can make the sentiment. I'm using real red ink, a scrap piece of basic white, and of course the stamp set. There's this sentiment, Merry Christmas, which is too long, so I'm going to fussy cut that into 2 pieces. So first I'm going to stamp. Ink up the stamp, and then stamp it. Clean off the stamp, of course. Okay. This was an H block, by the way. And then I'm going to fussy cut my sentiment. And here, in between the words, I'm cutting as well. Get rid of these pieces. Oh well, now they're on the floor. Okay, never mind. I'm going to use liquid glue. Could I use glue dots? I wonder. No, I'll use liquid glue. Just be careful when you attach it, and don't use too much liquid glue because otherwise it might seep out from under. Ah, see? If you get too much out, just spread it a bit with the nozzle. And here too, just a couple of dots. If the glue wants to start flowing, that is. I like liquid glue, but it can be messy. And I'm using a pair of tweezers to attach it, so that I don't get my fat fingers in the way. So, Christmas and Merry. Something like that at a bit of an angle, and then very gently so that it doesn't shift. See, that's when the glue hasn't dried yet, it may shift very easily. That's why I use the Seal Plus for the panels. Okay, that should be it. And that's another box finished. I'll show you the other one. There's so many things you can do with this box, so many ways to decorate. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial that I've shown you how you can make a box in 2 pieces. You can find all the details on my blog, and the link is in the description box below. And don't forget to watch the video I'm making this sweet reindeer if you're interested. I don't know where it is, somewhere on the screen. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.